This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
The U.S. Supreme Court delays redrawing of North Carolina congressional maps, plus Charlotte didn't make the list for Amazon's second headquarters, and we remember a York County Sheriff's Office detective killed in the line of duty this week. These topics and more next on Off the Record. Good evening and welcome to Off the Record. I'm Jeff Rivenpark. In the next half hour, we'll take a look at some of the top stories that made headlines this week. But first, I'd like to introduce my guest. We have with us Nick Oxner with WBTV News 3, David Borax with WFAE, Mark Garrison with WBT News, and Andrew Dunn with Charlotte Agenda. So glad to have you gentlemen here. We made it through the snow.
Yes,
so we did. And the icy roads. Well, on Thursday, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against a lower court order that said North Carolina's congressional map should be redrawn. Under the lower court's order, the congressional districts were to be redrawn by next week. They were said to be illegal constitutional gerrymanders. Now, here's a quote from Representative David Lewis and Senator Ralph Heiss. They said, quote, "We are grateful that a bipartisan U.S. Supreme Court has overwhelmingly halted the lower court's 11th hour attempt to intervene in election outcomes and restored certainty to voters about their districts. But this isn't faring well with many. One group in particular, the Southern Coalition for Social Justice, said North Carolinians deserve to participate in fair elections in 2018. We still believe the day is coming soon for the General Assembly to be held to account for this madness." What do you make of the Supreme Court's ruling?
I'd caution on anyone thinking that this is a final ruling. This just said don't do it by next week. I mean, we're still going to have some decision one way or the other that's permanent. That'll probably be months and months from now. But this has the practical effect of not throwing the 2018 congressional elections into disarray. I mean, had these districts had to be redrawn this month and had we had to start candidate filing in just, another month or two after that, it would have been a real mess. And so I think that's what the court took into consideration when they granted that stay.
And the other consideration here is that there are a couple of other cases on a similar topic that are making their way through the Supreme Court, one from Wisconsin that everybody is watching, another one from Maryland, and how the Supreme Court decides to rule on those will affect this case.
Now, a lot of Republicans are saying that the map as it is right now is the least gerrymandered and has the most compact districts that we've had in the state's recent modern history. What do you say to that?
My colleague Tom Bullock interviewed Speaker Tim Moore this week, and Tim Moore said, well, we think these are a model for how to draw districts around the country. I think what's the push and pull here is it legal or illegal for a legislature to draw districts that give them a political advantage, the party in power? And
but, they've always done it. I mean, the Democrats have done it when they're in power, and the Republicans have done it. I mean, it's kind of like to the victor goes the spoils, and one of the spoils is you get to draw the maps. And I'm wondering, once the Supreme Court settles these cases, what will they do with that principle?
Well, and that's before now, that's been totally legal. I mean, the courts have ruled that's perfectly fine. But here, I think some of the districts are way more compact than they've ever been. I mean, look at the old one that used to run along I-85. I'm Adams district. Is now just sitting in Mecklenburg County. That is arguably way more compact than it used to be. But the Republican lawmakers that drew these maps were very bold in saying, almost like they wanted to push this issue. I mean, David Lewis said he has 11 Republican majority districts because he couldn't find a 12th. Yeah, so they were very clear in saying, yes, we partisan gerrymandered, and so what? Because we can, dare us, we dare you to tell us we can't. And well, here's someone saying they can't.
Yeah.
In other news this week, a procession of law enforcement cars escorted a fallen officer from uptown Charlotte to York County Thursday afternoon. The York County Sheriff's officer died Wednesday following injuries he received while responding to a domestic violence call. Now, the York County Sheriff's Office said Detective Michael R. Doty was, quote, a man of service. Doty and 3 other officers were shot Tuesday while responding to a domestic violence call. Now, those other officers are expected to recover from their injuries. Certainly, our law enforcement officers risk their lives every day to serve and protect. WBT had an excellent interview, I think, this week with Trent Ferris, who's the public information officer for York County, and he was talking about South Carolina Representative Bruce Bryant said, Doty was on the SWAT team. He gave his job 100%, over 100%. And there would be times that I would walk out in the hall and here's Mike Doty there, even hours. He should be at home. He was there working on things. Quite a remarkable man.
Yeah, he must have been quite a guy. He was heavily involved in scouting, their Explorer program. He led several efforts within the department to help with getting the drug to officers that would help reverse overdoses. So, I mean, he was really kind of a cop's cop by the description of how he was just so passionate about the job. He has a twin brother who's in law enforcement, too. So, I mean, it's just a terrible tragedy.
Any other comments on this?
You know, this is one of those really sad cases. I can only make an observation. I saw this on the TV in our newsroom the other day, and it kind of made me stop and realize, you know, these cases are few and far between, but every time a cop is shot down, it's just a tragedy for the whole community.
It is. I have, on CMPD, there are 6 officers now that grew up with my kids, and they were at my house a lot when my kids were younger, and now
that makes you old, Mark.
It does make me old, and now they're on the SWAT team. In fact, when I was covering the riots last year, or year before last, and I was standing with a bunch of these officers who were covered, and one of them hit me on the shoulder with a rifle and said, "Mr. Garrison, it's Aaron Skipper." I mean, he's a kid. So, but I say all that to say this, what you were saying. I mean, when it just impacts you, and now every time I hear about a police officer shot in Charlotte, I go, oh my gosh, I hope it's not one of the guys I know.
Well, that's the problem, is it's happening a lot more
That's
often
right.
than I mean, you know, just last week we had a CMPD officer get shot outside the police station, and luckily that one far less severe than what we saw in York County this week. But it's a stark reminder of the danger that these men and women are putting themselves in.
Absolutely.
And certainly watching the live coverage on Thursday in the middle of the day, Channel 9 I was watching, and, you know, you see the firefighters out by the road with the flags flying. It just really makes you stop and pause and think about, you know, these guys intended to come home at the end of the day, and unfortunately that was not the case for this one man. Well, I want to pivot a little bit our conversation and talk a little bit more about domestic violence. A number of homicides in Charlotte, in fact, all the homicides in Charlotte since the beginning of the year have been linked to domestic violence. And Charlotte-Mecklenburg police say 27% of last year's homicides were linked to domestic violence as well. This week, WFAE interviewed Karen Parker, who is with Safe Alliance of Charlotte, and she says CMPD responds to more than, get this, 30,000 domestic calls every year. What do you see as a possible solution for reducing domestic violence in our community?
You know, there are people within the law enforcement and social services community that are trying to come up with a solution for this. And one of the answers is to intervene earlier, before these perpetrators get to the point where they are committing an extreme act of violence like this. Before Christmas, there was a press conference at the CMPD where they talked about trying to put together a justice center that would give women a one-stop place to go to file police reports, get medical and social help and other services that they need to make the process move more quickly, and also to get these court cases moving earlier. So it's really hard if somebody has an act earlier on that might signal something for later. If you can get that, typically it's a guy, if you can get that guy into some kind of a treatment or something earlier, it could forestall more violence later.
Well, and yesterday, CMPD had another press conference talking about this, and they've done some research and determined that a lot of guys who end up killing either women or other people have a history of domestic violence, particularly having choked their girlfriend or their wife. In fact, the guy who went down to CMPD last week or 2 weeks ago after killing his ex and then took shots at cops, he had been cited a number of times for choking his ex-girlfriend. And so CMPD now is going to bring in a consultant to help them do a better job of prosecuting men who are accused of choking their significant other in hopes of keeping them from turning into killers.
You know, my wish would be that as more people hear about these incidents, if you know of someone on your block who has been choked by someone, you know, be empowered to step up and pull that person to the side, the victim, and say, you know what, I see some red flags here looking in, and I think you need help, and try to help these people see the light and maybe try to escape this danger before it's critical.
And that's so important, because no number of additional police officers on the streets is going to solve this issue. It's got to be a community solution.
Well, Thursday morning, Amazon announced their list of cities that are still in the running as a location for the company's second headquarters. Charlotte, Catawba County, and the Triad didn't make the cut. Raleigh, however, did. This is quite devastating, I'm sure, for folks like the Charlotte Chamber and the Charlotte Regional Partnership. It is very disappointing because we were hoping to get this in Charlotte.
It is disappointing because when you look at the list of the 20 cities that made it, it's kind of a who's who of up-and-coming cities, and especially a lot of southern cities. Raleigh made the list, Nashville made the list.
Atlanta, the worst shot of all. Yeah.
That's right. It wasn't particularly unexpected. I mean, there's a few things that you can look at, differences between Charlotte and Raleigh, particularly, Research Triangle Park, the wealth of tech companies that are already there. The university system, the UNCs, the NC States, the Dukes. So I think Charlotte's really going to have to take a hard look at itself and say and decide, do we want to be in the running for these sorts of tech companies? If so, what do we need to change? And if not, well, where do we focus our efforts? Do we focus more on financial technology or fintech? As a banking hub, a lot of people see a lot of opportunity for that.
It was interesting. Your colleague Steve Crump interviewed and got a soundbite with Mayor Vi Lyles, who had a very positive outlook on. It's unfortunate we didn't get it, but we're happy that the state, is still in the running and possibly
it's a healthy attitude to have.
It's a healthy attitude.
It is. The fact that the state of North Carolina is on the list is
a good thing.
It is a good thing, and not every state in the country, less than half of them are on the list, right? There are only 20 finalists. So.
There is a lot of soul searching going on right now. Like, what do we do wrong? What do we do right? Bob Morgan from the Chamber put out a statement yesterday saying, one good thing that came of this was the unprecedented regional cooperation that put together the local bid. And so, if something else comes along, maybe, Apple II, the next one we're talking about, the city will be in a position to make a better pitch for that.
And that's an interesting point that was kind of a novel thing for them to have such a regional partnership like that, because in the Research Triangle Park, that's exactly what that is. They're a region of 3 cities that work together all the time. That's how they got RTP together, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. And so that is probably one of the bigger things they had working in their favor.
Well, next I want to talk a little bit about the opioid epidemic affecting communities across our area and in the country. In Cabarrus County, EMS responded to 163 heroin overdoses in 2016, and last year, listen to this, they responded to 581 calls. Now, this week, North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein was in Cabarrus County to talk about the opioid epidemic, and Nick, your wife, Sarah Blake Morgan, was there reporting for WBTV, and in her story, she had a comment from the Concord police chief, who I thought was particularly interesting. Chief Gary Gasick said, "I'm a police chief, come from a good family, and this stuff does not discriminate. What can we do, gentlemen, to change the tide on the opioid epidemic?"
The rest of Chief Gasick's quote was even more stunning. He said he had 2 teenage sons, and he's afraid that they could fall victim to this. But Sarah Blake's done a wonderful job documenting over the last couple months the problem of opioid addiction in our area. And the real thing right now is folks are recognizing there's a problem, but I don't know that anyone has a magic bullet to stop it yet. And I think that's why you see people like police chiefs, why you see Attorney General Josh Stein coming down, and people are trying to find these answers. But I don't think there is a magic one to stop a problem that is so pervasive right now.
This is something I think is going to take everybody involved. It's going to take the medical community, the police officers, mental health counselors, grandparents, moms, dads that may have medications up in their medicine cabinet and they're not using them for whatever pain they were prescribed for, and getting rid of that stuff so the grandkids don't find it and use it or sell it on the street or do whatever.
This is, you mentioned heroin, and heroin, we think of that as, kind of a street drug.
Yeah.
How does a middle-class white kid from the suburbs end up on heroin? And it is a continuum from, getting access to prescription drugs initially, and then ending up running out of those and finding out that it's actually cheaper to get heroin on the street than it is to find more pills. And I think, we're starting from the beginning on that. I think doctors are taking a harder look at prescribing opioids to patients who are in pain and trying to reduce the problem from the beginning.
Well, you're also seeing more local governments start to get involved in litigation against some of the marketers, the companies that are making these opioid drugs. But the concern there is evidence, as you said, that if the pills become less available, it could push people more quickly toward heroin, which is potentially even more dangerous.
2 immigration rights groups filed a lawsuit this week claiming that 3 of the 4 immigration judges in Charlotte aren't holding bond hearings for non-citizens as required by law. Now, this means people eligible to be released on bond are being detained for a week. So what do you think these judges aren't holding these hearings? Flight risk?
No, it's really inexplicable. The point of having the hearing is to determine whether or not these people are flight risks. So, if you deem someone a flight risk, that's a reason to not issue them bond that is perfectly within the law. But under the law, there is no legal reason to not have the hearing. And so this could potentially be a very major lawsuit. Of course, it's filed on behalf of 2 individuals. They've asked for a judge to certify it as a class action lawsuit. It actually names these specific immigration judges as well as Attorney General Jeff Sessions in the complaint. And so it's really shining a spotlight in a very big way, in a very serious way, on this practice here.
To answer your question, we don't know why they are doing this. They have not responded. They have not given any interviews or anything. So it's really hard to say. I mean, we can take guesses. Do they have some animosity towards this population? I don't know.
And some of it could. Have you sat down in immigration court and just watched the sea of humanity that comes through there on a docket that is hopelessly overcrowded? I don't know.
Well, that could be another problem,
I
too.
think that could be a part of it.
We know there's a swell of immigration cases, right,
Yep.
under the Trump administration and tougher enforcement of our immigration laws. And so it could just be that they're overwhelmed. But bottom line, the point that the
But
plaintiffs
they're not doing
are,
their job,
Yeah, the point that
clearly.
the plaintiffs are making is they have a constitutional right to do it.
That's right.
The law still applies to them, so it needs
That's
to be
right.
done.
Well, we're coming up on the anniversary of the Women's March on Charlotte, and this year it's being called Remarchable Women, and it will be held in Uptown Charlotte's First Ward Park Saturday morning. There is a long list of speakers, including Charlotte Mayor Vi Lyles, City Council Reps Julie Eiselt, Luana Mayfield, and Dimple Alshamera, and many, many more. The list just goes on and on. David, you've been covering this. This group, are they expecting a large turnout?
Well, they're not really sure. They've had a pretty good response to their Facebook and web page RSVPs. They're not sure they're going to get as many as last year. Remember, last year there was more than 10,000 people in Uptown Charlotte for this. They're much more organized this year. This is a group of women, some of whom marched here last year, some of whom marched in Washington. They got together after those marches and they decided to start planning actually monthly meetings, and they've had speakers and putting together this year's march. And so I think it's going to be a big deal.
I checked out their website earlier today, and the Charlotte Women's March says it will advance sustainable engagement for change and parity with opportunities for all. Charlotte Women's March advocates for equity and equality for all peoples, civic engagement, science and education, and women's health. You really should check out the website and get involved. This is something that resonates with you. Lots of people will be turning out.
Well, I think, and with the weather tomorrow, I mean, we're getting a break and the temperature is going up. I think we'll have a huge crowd. Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about that nasty weather we had this week. Oh my goodness, CMS, canceled class 3 days?
Yeah.
It kind of brought everything to a gridlock, right?
Don't you remember when you were a kid, though, and how delightful that was when you heard the announcement, no school tomorrow? I just think about that every time. It's just, and I love saying it on the radio.
Every time
Okay,
they
kids,
cancel
no
school, every time they cancel school in Charlotte, though, it brings up this debate about why are they canceling school. Drive to work this morning, and the highways are perfectly clear and dry, but it has to do with the back roads, and CMS officials are constantly having to defend themselves about that.
Well, I think we knew we were in trouble when, Tuesday night, when CMS went ahead and called it for Wednesday.
Which was a good decision.
Yeah.
I actually, Sarah and I were talking about this last night. It feels like Charlotte has had the best kind of most logical, rational response to snow that it's had in a long time. I mean, the roads were pretty clear yesterday.
Yeah.
The main thoroughfares were pretty clear yesterday. People went to work. The kids didn't go to school, but otherwise, no one seemed to panic. The bread was still on the shelves. I mean,
well, in some stores.
Well, and I think one thing that many people forget is, when you get on some of these campuses, whether it's a college campus or, school, you can't salt every area
That's
where
right.
a child has to walk between a mobile unit and the main building.
you can't even clear every parking lot of the CMS school.
Yeah, our parking lot at Channel 3 and WBT was kind of
Hit or miss, yeah.
And it was pretty interesting that even the best drivers can sometimes have a little fender bender. Dale Earnhardt Jr. tweeted, getting all kinds of texts that I was in a traffic accident today. I just scratched my winch on the trunk of a pine, no crash, just driving too fast in the snow, being a bit of a fool. Looking back at the snowstorm, though, it was pretty interesting how it kind of made us all just stop for a little bit.
it was fun, actually.
Unless you work in news, then you're...
then you're out going.
There's no rest for the weary.
Warning people about black ice.
That's right.
All right, so as we look forward to the week ahead, what are some of the stories you guys will be following?
I think it is going to be interesting to see what happens with redistricting, because even though it's on pause, it's still very much on top of mind. Lawmakers are eyeing possible votes next week about what, who knows. So keep your eye on Raleigh.
And have we heard yet on any of the funeral arrangements for the York County Sheriff's
As we
deputy?
sit here at this moment, no, we're waiting to hear about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
still a very tragic story. We want to remind you to tune in and watch Carolina Impact this Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Are your kids spending too much time with their electronic devices? Well, Suzanne Stevens will report on the dangers of digital media and what some parents are doing to limit their children's access to technology. Plus, we'll head to Rock Hill, Fort Mill, and Lancaster to find out about how South Carolina's textile towns are preserving their past. And grab your hiking boots. We're going to head up to Pilot Mountain in the heart of the Yadkin Valley. All those stories and more on Carolina Impact at 8 o'clock. And once again, I want to say thanks to this week's guest, Nick Oxner with WBTV News 3, David Borax with WFAE, Mark Garrison with WBT Radio, and Andrew Dunn with Charlotte Agenda. I'm Jeff Rivenbark on behalf of all of us here at PBS Charlotte. We're so glad you could join us, and thanks for spending your time with us. We'll see you back here next week.
A production of PBS Charlotte.